Yeah, boy.
What's going on, guys? Today we have some pretty big news coming in about Remnant 2. A new post was recently made about the archetypes and how they're going to work in the new game. Build crafting was already pretty great in the original, but from the looks of things, Remnant 2 will be very replayable and have loads of different options to choose from. I was originally going to read this post for the video, but after doing so, it ended up being mostly boring gibberish. So instead, let's take a look at my breakdown of the new build system in Remnant 2. The main design flaw of Remnant from the Ashes was that starting classes had no effect on the game itself, at least not in the end. You basically chose from 3 separate classes, and as soon as you made it to the base, with enough money or scrap in this case, you could buy the items the other classes had. You didn't get anything unique or distinct except for the first 30 minutes of gameplay. I didn't mind this too much, as you still have lots of control over different builds, and creativity was definitely alive in that process. However, the replayability meant that there was no reason to create a new character ever. Rather, you should just play the one over and over with different armor and weapons, which eventually gets boring as you become overpowered. Now, in Remnant 2, they're making starting choice much more important. From this picture here, it looks like there are many more options for starting classes, and each contains a distinct armor set, 3 unique weapons, their signature trait, and 2 new additions, perks and skills. Progressing through the game and earning XP will level up your archetype, gaining you access to unique perks and abilities. There are 5 different perk types for this archetype system: Prime, Damage, Team, Utility, and Relic. Prime seems to be distinct for your class. It provides a benefit no other class does. Damage scales your character damage output, offering buffs such as range damage, melee damage, or mod power. Team affects all allies whether you play alone or in co-op. Sounds like the much-loved minion build might make a comeback. This section can buff ammo drops, shared healing, and even team defense. Utility is for quality of life. The example given is a class focused on sprinting and evading attacks might get reduced stamina costs. Relic is a temporary effect given to the player upon using their Dragon Heart or healing item. These existed in the original game, but only if you wore certain armor sets. Most of the time, these were not as optimal as other sets, since buffing damage ended boss fights quicker. Sounds like these buffs will be small in Remnant 2, but useful since they won't be tied to armor. As you gain experience, your class perks will become much more powerful. As you level up, your class will also gain access to select skills. These are special abilities that can only be used by a particular class. These are sort of an expanded version of weapon mods for your character, and they also kept weapon mods in the game as well, which might mean you get more options in combat. These skills will operate on a cooldown. Any particular class has 3 skills to choose from, but can only slot 1 at a time. This allows you to further customize your build before harder fights. Maybe one skill is great for clearing mobs, but crap in boss fights. Switch when out of combat to always stay optimized. Traits are also back from the original game. If you remember, these were various passives given to the character that you upgraded. Faster reload speed, take less damage from teammates, and even extra explosion damage. Now, traits are locked into certain classes, and you automatically gain a point into that trait upon leveling up. They also mention that you can't max out every trait this time, further placing importance on the replayability aspect. Something really cool is that once you fully upgrade a class, its traits will be available for any build you wish. Basically, this is saying it will benefit you to play through the game on every class to unlock their traits for others, but it will always cost points and you still have to make the choice to go into them. These classes are also apparently unlockable by every character. You gain access to the other archetypes eventually and can choose to throw points into that archetype. Honestly, this section was originally a bit confusing because it makes it sound like, once again, replayability will be a problem when you can still unlock everything. The big difference here is that you'll unlock everything but be unable to upgrade them all. Also, the classes will be unlocked in different ways that is left up to the players to figure out. Probably similar to the puzzles we got in the first game. This post also mentions the ability to dual archetypes, 2 classes at the same time, doubling the perks, skills, and traits. This is also very unique because one class will make the main and one will be the secondary. A heal plus DPS class will be different from a DPS plus heal class selection. These will be given distinct names such as Violent Guardian for DPS support class or Preserving Guardian for support DPS class. The main takeaway is that it will be possible to build into two separate classes reaping multiple benefits. The new system for Remnant 2 allows a player to reach unlimited customization and build creativity. Replayability is also important, and with certain things being unachievable on each character, it will make this a lot more interesting. The crazy thing to me is that this doesn't talk at all about armor, weapons, or weapon mods. There's still all of that to gain buffs from. I imagine Remnant 2 will feel a lot better than the original while also keeping the same core gameplay: melee weapons, guns, dodging, and healing with dragon hearts. This is what many fans of Remnant have wanted all along, and it's cool to see the game heading in a direction most people are looking forward to. As I did miss a separate post announced before this one, I will briefly touch on it. This is quoted directly from the Steam page for Remnant 2, and it gives us a bit of backstory for this game's plot. The root's tendrils have taken hold of Yeisha since a human has last set foot on that world. Where once life thrived in her lush jungles, all that remains is death and decay. The citizens of Yeisha have attempted to stem the tide, fighting back against the unrelenting forces of the root. But this has proven to be a futile endeavor. Now, it is only a matter of time until the root turn Yeisha into a decimated husk of a world. The Ravager, crucial to the balance of all things on Yeisha, has turned his back on that very balance. After being left for dead by the hero of Remnant, the Ravager, in a desperate move of self-preservation, has struck a deal with the root. In exchange for eternal life and great power, he has agreed to serve the root in their conquest of Yeisha. Now an agent of the root, he threatens to destroy Yeisha and the balance he was once a part of. As the Red Empress tightens her grasp, what remains of the once great Pan Empire continues to slowly slip through her fingers. She faces not only the raw, remorseless forces of the root, but also the uprising of the Pan slaves. Fighting an unwinnable battle in two fronts has not only proven difficult, but also costly, as her troops are dwindling and those who remain loyal to her are fewer by the day. I hope you enjoyed this new information about Remnant 2. Sounds like the game's going to be pretty fun and have quite an interesting story. This is definitely one of my most anticipated games of the last few years, so hopefully it lives up to those expectations. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll catch you next time.